Allah Azza wa Jal, when He sent human beings on the earth and sent both of our parents to the earth, He said something remarkable, because the devil was being sent down at the same time. And He said, "Ihbitu ba'dukum li ba'din adu." All of you descend, you are going to be enemies to each other. Which means the devil is going to be the enemy to men and women, and he's going to make sure that men become enemies to women, and women become enemies to men, and men to each other, and women to each other. So the idea is that he will try to create as much animosity as possible. Inna shaitan yanza'u bainakum. The shaitan is going to cause tension between you, cause friction between you. And since the beginning of humanity until today, human beings are suffering in their personal lives, in community, in countries, and in international politics with conflict. There are all kinds of conflicts that human beings are engaged in every single day. Some of our conflicts are economic. For example, an employee fighting with an employer. The boss says you need to work more and get paid less. And the employee says, no, I want to work less and get paid more. You know, the boss says less time off. The employee says, I want more time off. The government tells people, we want more taxes. And people say we want to pay less taxes. The government says we want to provide less services. People say less taxes and more services. There's a tension between people and government, and employers and employees. There's a tension between men and women in marriage and in social contracts and everything else. The rights between men and women. And in all of these conflicts, you know, every side believes that they're right. And, you know, for example, if there's a divorce case, or there's a conflict between two family members, and they go to a divorce court judge, if the judge is a man and the judge is a woman, it's going to make a difference, isn't it? Because they can't help but be who they are. And if the judge himself or herself went through a divorce just 2 months ago, then when they see, if the female judge sees the guy, she's not going to see a man, she's going to see her ex-husband, and she's going to let it out. And you won't even know, because human beings can't help themselves but be biased. The same thing with a man. He'll have a bias against a woman, and he may not even be conscious of it. The thing though is that Allah Azza wa Jal gave us guidance, and He gave us guidance because He loves men and He loves women equally. He's concerned with the employer and the employee equally. He's the only one that truly can be a neutral party. Nobody else can be neutral. Men can't be neutral. Women can't be neutral. You know, parents can't be neutral. Children can't be neutral. Children will say the parents have taken their rights. Parents will say children have taken their rights. Everybody is going to look at things from their own point of view. The thing is, when we say وَكَلِمَةُ اللَّهِ هِيَ الْعُلْيَا, that the word of Allah is in the supreme place, it's in the highest place, then I have to put my needs and my wants and my bias and my feelings on the side and put Allah's word above that. And if I'm not able to do that, then I don't understand the place of Allah's word, because my own bias and my own feelings are actually superior to Allah's own words. Allah has given some preference over others. You know what that means? That means in some things men have a preference. Allah has given them an advantage over women. And in other things, Allah has given women an advantage over men. Men have to take certain responsibilities. If they're going to be the caretaker or the provider and the protector and all of those responsibilities, that's actually a privilege Allah has handed over to women. You're not responsible for any of those things. Allah in the Quran did not talk exhaustively about marriage. Like He didn't describe all the things that make a marriage work. There are very few places in the Quran where Allah gives us some insights, and basically it's like instead of describing the entire building, He mentioned a few pillars. If those pillars are not there, the building's going to collapse. Right? And one of those pillars is that the money responsibility is the man's responsibility. He better go find a job. He better go get some work. He better go and provide, because that is actually what Allah has made him responsible for. The word qawwam in the beginning is now being explained by the fact that men are financially responsible for the groceries, for the car, for the fuel, for the electricity bill, for the school, school supplies for the kids, everything. Everything. And that starts from the very beginning. When you get married, you take the responsibility of paying a mahr, a dowry. Right? So men are responsible for all of this, and they better, drip their sweat and break their backs earning for a family and go through all of the labor that they need to go through to take care of them and provide for them and protect them and take care of them emotionally and financially and physically and all of those things. Well, what do the women owe then? What's their side of this equation? Well, Allah Azza wa Jal starts with He said men take care of women, and you were expecting that Allah will say women, therefore do this. Right? But instead of saying women, He said فَالصَّالِحَاتِ. Then as a result, therefore, good women, He doesn't even say women, He says good women, as if Allah expects the first thing for women to be is good. Not even women anymore. You must be good. And what does good mean in Arabic? The word salih comes from sulh. Sulh means the opposite of fighting, the opposite of corruption. Actually, when there's a conflict, then you want to make peace between two sides, you do sulh. Meaning, women are such wives are the source of ending all conflicts in the family. They are a source of peace and reconciliation. They are the reason tempers go down. They are the reason voices are lowered. They are the source of calm. They are the voice of reason. They're the source of reform. If there is a conflict or some kind of tension, the first place that the husband looks to, when he turns to her, things are going to settle down, is going to be the wife. For some of you are like, seriously? Because all the fighting is actually... You're telling me that the place where all the fighting starts from is the place where it's supposed to end? Because I don't have any other raised voices in my house except hers. And nobody else is angry in my house except her. So the guy is the men don't take care of their end, and women don't take care of their end. And they become a source of great tension and conflict. Allah starts by saying that they are a source of reform. They are settled, they are calm, they're actually peace themselves, goodness themselves. They are the removal of all sorts of tension. That's the first quality. Then he says, qanitatun, eager to obey. And some have interpreted this as eager to obey Allah. And that is true. They are eager to obey Allah. Because women should remember that when they are being a source of calm, and when they are providing peace and sakina in the household, they need to realize the only one who can keep a household calm is them. And the only one who can truly set it on fire is them. They control the emotional, like in your home you have an air conditioner control that controls the temperature. Women control the emotional temperature of a household. They control it. And they better keep it cool because this is an act of them obeying Allah Himself. This is out of their eagerness to obey Allah. They need to become a source of calm. Don't talk to me, leave me alone, etc., etc. So one person has to be upset. One of them, it's either the guy who's upset and she's trying to calm him down, or she's upset and he's trying to calm her down, and they see that as a source of kind of control or power. Like, yeah, I got him now. If I calm down now, I don't get that many points. Let me get some more juice out of this, So I'm going to keep this anger thing going. Just see how far I can take it. So this kind of putting someone in a subservient position, this is against what Allah Azza wa Jal wants. So Allah Azza wa Jal says, qanitatun. Then he adds another responsibility for women. He says, hafilatun lil ghayb. They guard what is invisible. They guard the invisible. What does that mean? It means that when the husband's out at work, they're not doing anything the husband wouldn't have wanted them to do. They're not talking to anybody who the husband wouldn't have wanted them to talk to. They don't have any friends that the husband didn't approve of. They're not having any conversations that are behind his back. Conversations that are private between husband and wife are not being shared with her mother or her sister or whoever else, because they're supposed to guard that. There's a privacy between a husband and a wife. And just because you're having now if there's an abuse situation and he's beating you or he's cussing you or he's doing some crazy things to you, then you need to get somebody who can actually help. Not just somebody to talk to, but somebody who can come in and intervene. When it becomes a habit, I just need to talk to somebody, and you're just railing on the husband, or you're sharing things that he asked you to keep private, or you have connections or friends or associates or company, or you're going to places where he would never have wanted you to go to. Had he seen you there, he would have been really upset or really hurt, and you're still doing that anyway, and in your head, well, he didn't find out, so it's okay. Allah says, hafilatun lil ghayb. They have to guard what is invisible, meaning part of the meaning is what is invisible to him. They have to guard that. Bima hafidhallah, because of what Allah ordained should be guarded. You see, now the equation is balanced. On the one side, Allah Azza wa Jal told men, you have to spend because Allah has put that responsibility on you. Bima faddalallahu ba'dahum ala ba'd wa bima anfaqu min amwalihim. On the other side, hafidhatun lil ghaybi bima hafidhallah. They have to guard what is in the unseen because of what Allah has decided to guard. So they're not supposed to be keeping secrets from their husband. They're not supposed to be having, passwords on their phone, and the husband says, "Can I see your phone?" No. Why? I don't. No. Hold on a second. Let me erase everything. Okay, now you can see it. Why? There should be the only one you can keep the private life of a wife is actually completely shared. You are their libas. They are your libas. There are no secrets between husband and wife. You're supposed to be completely open with each other. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam would share secrets with his wives. وَإِذْ أَسَرَّ النَّبِيُّ إِلَى بَعْضِ أَزْوَاجِهِ حَدِيثًا. When he shared a secret with his spouse, in his most private and most difficult moments, he turned to her. If you can't be each other's clothes, you know when somebody's wearing clothes, there's nothing between the clothes and your body, is there? Your clothes, the inside of your clothes have no secrets between you and yourself and them. That's the description of a spouse, a husband and a wife. So when you're not able to guard that, and what is meant to be just for the husband and what is meant to be just for the wife is going somewhere else, then that's a violation of what women are supposed to do. And these are just few things that Allah mentions, that this is actually how the balance is maintained between the two sides. الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. And on the other hand, فالصالحات قانتات حافظات للغيب بما حفظ الله. How does Allah expect things to look? Not I expect or you expect. How does Allah expect the relationship to look? What are some of its most fundamental pillars? That if they are not there, then they should be the first priority before anything else. Before we fix, marriage can have 100 problems. A family can have 100 problems. If these few things that I've mentioned are still a problem, then everything else is secondary. This is the primary. This is the real issue. So this has to be worked on before anything else. And if this is not being resolved, this cannot be fixed, then what does Allah say? فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ شِقَاقَ بَيْنِهِمَا فَابْعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا. If you really think that this is a schism, like a canyon has opened up between them, and they can't seem to figure out how to make this work, these fundamentals aren't there, then you need to get someone worthy of counsel, some wise person, some sensible person that can represent her side, from her family, and get somebody representative from his family and get them to talk it out. Nobody else should get involved. Nobody. This is not a dinner conversation. This is not some interesting subject at the Eid party. Those two are having trouble. This is not for anybody else. This is one responsible person who cares, who understands things, and is not emotionally all over the place, not an angry person from her family, one calm, level-headed person from his family, and they can have a mutual meeting to try to figure things out. If things work out, okay. If things don't work out, that's okay too. That's okay. This is how things are supposed to be solved. This is how hatred is not created. And you know what happens a lot of times? People remain in broken marriages, and they don't get anybody involved, and they don't fix what's broken, and they develop hatred towards each other. And then when that hatred is towards between husband and wife, the children see it. And they learn that this is normal. It's normal for mom and dad to talk this way. So when those kids grow up and they're going to be married, guess how they're going to talk to their spouse? That's what they learned. That's the schooling they got at home. So when you don't have that peace at home, you are actually passing that chaos down to the next generations. And it's a subconscious kind of learning. When children learn from what they see, that is never forgotten. What they learn in classroom, you forget. You guys, when you were kids, you don't remember what your teacher said in the class. You remember one thing, what your parents used to do at home, you remember. You remember that. You still, as adults, you remember that. Because that leaves an imprint on a person's personality. So this isn't just about even a husband and a wife, it's about the legacy we're leaving behind. The tranquility that's supposed to come thereafter. I genuinely pray that those of you that are married, husbands and wives, are able to really look at themselves and recognize whether or not they're fulfilling their responsibilities as Allah wants them to. And I genuinely hope if you do find yourself in a very difficult marriage situation, that you're able to find somebody to confide in from your side, from your family. And if there's nobody reasonable in your family, because that happens sometimes, maybe all y'all crazy, that happens, everybody's crazy, then you have to find somebody who can at least represent your side reasonably and speak on your behalf. Because if you keep suffering from abuse silently, then you're partly responsible for what's happening. And not just to you, what's happening to your children or future generations. Right? Because it's not okay to live in resentment with somebody else. It's not okay to look at somebody else and remember all the hurt they caused you all the time. It's not okay to not be at peace. The fundamental purpose of marriage was لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. Before Allah mentioned love, before He mentioned care, mawadda wa rahma, He said the first purpose of marriage is so you can find peace with each other. When you look at someone, you just calm down and relax. Like, finally I'm in a safe place. Finally this is a place where I'll be dignified, I won't be humiliated, I won't be reminded of my past mistakes, I'm completely at ease because I'm in the presence of my spouse, husband or wife. If that's not there, then that needs to be there. And if you're not able to get there yourself, then you need outside help and professional help at that. May Allah Azza wa Jal allow us the opportunity to fix broken relationships and to do what's best for ourselves and our families. May Allah Azza wa Jal allow us and give us the rizq of seeking the right kind of help to mend the ties that are being broken. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Hakim wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikr al-Hakim.